Most people chasing bigger glutes are doing the same thing. The same movement, the same pattern, week after week, wondering why nothing is changing. And look, that exercise has its place. Nobody is here to completely cancel it. But if glute development is your actual goal, grinding through set after set of squats is one of the least efficient routes you can take. Your glutes are not the primary mover in that pattern. Your quads are doing the bulk of the work, your lower back is involved, and your glutes are essentially just along for the ride. Here is the truth that most people find out too late. There are 5 exercises that load your glutes more directly, more effectively, and with far more muscle-building tension than the default movement everyone defaults to. And most people are skipping at least 3 of them. These are the movements that actually create the shape and size people are really after, and they are backed by how glute anatomy actually works. And one of these exercises are so underrated that nobody in your gym is doing it. Let's get into them. The Bulgarian split squat is genuinely one of the most hated exercises in the gym. People avoid it, they complain about it, and then they quietly admit it works better than almost everything else. The reason it builds so much glute is the combination of a deep hip flexor stretch on the rear leg and a single leg loading pattern that forces your glute to work harder than it ever would in a bilateral squat. Everyone wants bigger glutes until it's time to do these. Because you are on one leg, your body cannot compensate the way it does in a regular squat. The glute on the working leg has to stabilize, drive the movement, and control the descent. Research consistently shows that single-leg exercises produce significantly higher glute activation than bilateral movements because there is no strong leg to take over when things get hard. These build glutes faster than most people realize. Stand facing away from a bench and place the top of your rear foot on it. Your front foot should be far enough forward that your shin stays relatively vertical at the bottom of the movement. Lower yourself down by bending the front knee, keeping your torso upright, and letting your rear knee drop toward the floor. Drive through your front heel to come back up. The lower you go, the more your glute has to work. 3 sets of 8 to 10 reps per leg. You will almost certainly want to hold something at the bottom. That means it is working. Hip thrusts have more research behind them as a direct glute builder than almost any other exercise. The reason is biomechanics. Your glutes reach peak contraction when your hip is fully extended, which means they are working hardest at the very top of a hip thrust. In a squat, your glutes are most stretched at the bottom, but least active at the top, where you are simply standing. The hip thrust flips this completely and loads your glutes exactly where they are strongest and most capable of producing force. You can hate hip thrusts, but your glutes don't. Studies comparing hip thrusts to squats consistently show significantly higher glute activation in the hip thrust, particularly in the upper glute fibers that contribute most to the rounded shape people are training for. Glute kickback machines give you a fraction of that stimulus. One of the few exercises where heavy weight actually makes sense. Sit on the floor with your upper back against a bench and a barbell or dumbbell across your hips. Your feet should be flat on the floor, roughly hip-width apart, close enough to your body that your shins are vertical at the top. Drive through both heels to press your hips upward until your body forms a straight line from knees to shoulders. Squeeze your glutes hard at the top and hold for a full second. Lower with control. Do not let your lower back arch excessively at the top. And then 4 sets of 10 to 12. Romanian deadlifts are one of the most underutilized glute exercises in existence, and the reason comes down to one word: stretch. Research on muscle hypertrophy has become increasingly clear that training a muscle in a lengthened position, under load, produces significantly more growth than training it in a shortened position. The RDL stretches your glutes and hamstrings under heavy load at the bottom of every single rep. Cable kickbacks, by contrast, load your glute in its shortest position. It is the opposite of what you want for maximum growth. Most people cut the range of motion and wonder why they don't grow. The glute has a large attachment along your hamstring, which means any movement that simultaneously loads both hip extension and a stretch through the back of the leg is going to hit the glute with more stimulus than isolated movements can match. The stretch is where the magic happens. Stand with a barbell or 2 dumbbells in front of your thighs. With a soft bend in your knees, hinge at the hips, and push them back as you lower the weight down your legs. Keep the weight close to your body throughout. Lower until you feel a deep stretch in your hamstrings and glutes, usually around mid-shin level depending on your mobility. Drive your hips forward to return to standing, squeezing your glutes at the top. The descent should take 3 slow seconds. 4 sets of 8 to 10. Walking lunges are one of those exercises that people underestimate until they actually do a proper set of them. The Smith machine squat, by contrast, locks you into a fixed bar path that removes stabilizer activation and limits how your body can naturally move through the pattern. Walking lunges give your hips, glutes, and knees freedom to move as they are designed to. And the forward lean that naturally occurs during a lunge shifts a significant amount of the load directly onto the glute. People avoid these because they're difficult, not because they don't work. The dynamic nature of the movement also means your glute has to produce force while your body is moving through space, which trains a type of strength and muscle recruitment that fixed machines simply cannot replicate. Each step creates a mini hip extension drive that accumulates across the length of the set. Every good leg day should include some suffering. Hold dumbbells at your sides or a barbell across your back. Step forward into a lunge, lowering your back knee toward the floor. Your front shin should stay roughly vertical. Drive through the front heel to step your rear foot forward and into the next lunge. Keep your torso upright throughout. The longer your stride, the more glute involvement you get relative to quad. Short strides shift work to the quads. Walk for 12 to 15 reps per leg, 3 sets. By the end of the second set, you will be on first-name terms with the floor. Step-ups consistently get dismissed as a beginner exercise or something you do at the end of a session as an afterthought. This is a mistake. A properly loaded step-up on a high box is one of the most demanding single-leg glute exercises you can do, and the height of the box is the key variable that most people get completely wrong. Nobody talks about these enough. When you step onto a high box, your hip has to move through a large range of flexion before driving into full extension at the top. That full hip extension at the top of every rep is where your glute fires hardest. The abductor machine, by comparison, trains hip abduction in a seated position with almost no functional glute involvement. You are not building glutes on the abductor machine. You are moving a pad with your legs. Simple doesn't mean ineffective. Find a box that brings your thigh to around parallel or slightly below when your foot is on top. Place one foot fully on the box and drive through that heel to step up, bringing your trailing leg up to meet it at the top. Squeeze your glute at the top of every rep. Step back down with control and repeat on the same leg before switching sides. Hold dumbbells at your sides or add a weighted vest as you progress. The key is driving through the heel of the elevated foot, not pushing off the floor with your back foot. That back foot should be doing as little as possible. 3 sets of 10 to 12 per leg. Bulgarian split squats because your glutes cannot hide behind your stronger leg. Hip thrusts because no other exercise loads the glute at full extension with that kind of resistance. Romanian deadlifts because the stretch under load is where the real growth happens. Walking lunges because the Smith machine is not doing what you think it is. And step-ups because a high box and a heavy dumbbell will humble you faster than any abductor machine ever will. 5 exercises. All of them harder than squatting with bad form and wondering why nothing is growing. Your glutes respond to direct, challenging, progressive work just like every other muscle. Give them that consistently, and the results will follow. Stop training your glutes as an afterthought. Start training them like you actually mean it.